Yep. So Nuvola steps in, and essentially we help projects that are in the DePin space run mass scale across the globe operations for node and servers. So essentially, we see what parameters they need to run and at what speeds and internet download speeds, read write, everything. And we set up those operations and expand the size of the network via storage and computing resources.
I'm joined by Raul on this interview to talk through Novula, which is a really interesting DePin play. DePin is the hot topic at the moment, all the decentralized physical infrastructure networks. There's a lot of projects out there at the moment, and it's gaining a lot of traction and attention. But Raul, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here, and I look forward to talking about Nuvola and the exciting things we have planned for DePin.
So let's talk about DePin in general first. Like, what is it exactly, and why is it such a hot topic?
So DePin stands for Decentralized Physical Infrastructure Networks. Simply put, Amazon Web Services, Google, Microsoft, they all have their own structure where they provide cloud storage and computing services. Those systems are centralized, where essentially they run all the operations, they set the cost, and they keep all the revenues. This makes it a centralized sort of operation where one entity controls in everything in and out of the operation. DePin is the decentralized version of that, where robust models are popping up, such as Iagon, where they put the operating aspect of the operations on the end user. So you, me, anyone else can essentially spin up servers and nodes and contribute to the robustness of the network. And in doing so, they share their revenue models back with the node or server operators, making it a more decentralized aspect of how the economy within it flows.
So how does your project then fit into this mold?
Yep. So Nuvola steps in, and essentially we help projects that are in the DePin space run mass scale across the globe operations for node and servers. So essentially, we see what parameters they need to run and at what speeds and internet download speeds, read write, everything. And we set up those operations and expand the size of the network via storage and computing resources.
Right. Okay. So this sounds like a direct play for Iagon and data storage type of DePin projects. Is that correct?
Correct. So currently, Iagon's network is primed for a big explosion. Hence why they wanted to partner with us. They see the model we're proposing, which at the core, we're a network expansion provider. So we're going to be giving their network a very large boost in a short amount of time to be able to keep up with the demand of the coming users that they're onboarding. But their network it just went live essentially back in December when they started to spin up nodes, and it's growing at a good pace. And Nuvola stepping in to essentially give it like a bigger boost in a shorter amount of time. Iagon has been flirting with some bare metal partnerships that are coming in the coming weeks to months, and that demand is going to be very heavy on their network. So that's where we essentially step in and assert ourselves as a pillar for them to have the amount of storage and computing resources they need as the demand starts to ramp up.
Gotcha. So Novula already has all this infrastructure ready to go. Is that the case? What's your background here? Like, how can you have all this all ready to go to provide for Iagon?
So my partner, CTO Syed Lanka, he has almost a decade of experience working with data centers and as an internet service provider. So he has a very technical backbone when it comes to providing these services. And when I first met him was a couple months ago. I was looking to run my own node for Iagon. I was an early investor back in early 2023, and I always wanted to contribute to the network, except I didn't have the technical background. So through some mutual connections, we ended up meeting, and I asked him for his assistance. That's when the light bulb essentially went off. And I said, well, if I have this problem, I'm sure there's a lot of other people. So how can we do this on a large scale? And he said, essentially, there's ways where you can operate servers across the world and they all have different operating costs based on the type of performance that you're looking to bring into the network, and then you host the nodes into those servers. So we already essentially have deployed several servers, which will be announced in the coming days in the US, France, Germany. We're looking to be in Singapore as well. And we might even reach down over into Australia. As of to date, we have about 400 terabytes worth of storage available for Iagon that we're very excited to have in place before the raise for our NVL token sale already. This is coming from essentially my personal holdings, his personal holdings. A portion of it is being donated to the community as a thank you in advance for the massive support that we've been receiving over the last week. It's been a week since we went public about everything. And some of it also has been OTC to just essentially get the nodes up and started. But once we're live and the raise is complete, we are looking to set up an extremely sizable operation for Iagon, which they are very happy about. And it will really, really help their network with the demand coming.
Very cool. Very, very cool indeed. I personally try to set up an Iagon node, but my home PC, this whole notion of that whole decentralized infrastructure sounded great until my internet didn't meet the metrics that they required. Yes. So I've got a little bit of space left over that I could have used for this to earn some IAG tokens, but my internet just didn't meet the requirements, and I was bitterly disappointed. So I had the technical skills, but I just don't have the home infrastructure for it. So this sounds like the perfect project to help facilitate those people that want to participate, but don't have technical skills or the infrastructure or the hardware that they require. But how does the user get integrated into your platform and integrated into your ecosystem? I've got a bit of a disconnect there.
Yep. So we essentially are going to use, we essentially are going to use the raise from our NVL token to purchase the essential underlying crypto infrastructures and the servers and the hardware to run the nodes on behalf of the public. The public is not going to have access to servers and nodes themselves. Essentially, what happens is that would give them access to the crypto or the currencies that are within the nodes. So we're the ones essentially running it on their behalf. Now, the utility of our NVL token is what is the inclusive part of our economy, essentially. So these DePin structures, while they are very decentralized, their revenue model is centralized to the node operators, where the node operators essentially reap all the rewards and all the revenue share. What Nuvola steps in and does is we democratize that revenue share model by running nodes on behalf of the public. And through our NVL token, they stake it into our portal, and that grants them access to the revenue streams that we incur as the larger node operations. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense now. So I stake the NVL token into your ecosystem, and I earn essentially revenue share from the platform itself.
Correct. 50% of all the revenue share goes to staked NVL holders. Another 40% goes into the treasury and operating and maintenance costs. And another 10% is for team expansion, because we will grow very rapidly at given rate, and we're going to be spread out internationally as well. And then what happens is, as the treasury grows and more rewards come in, we deploy a portion of it into another DePin structure or more servers and nodes, further increasing essentially the compounded effect of the rewards for everyone involved. Now, if someone like yourself, you mentioned that you were looking to run a node. That model is what would be called a 1-to-1 ROI ratio, where you buy the underlying crypto, you establish the hardware needed, and you run it, and then you would earn the reward from that sole operation. Nuvola's model is a 1 to X, where X is a variable that can constantly change based on the amount of partnerships and networks that we contribute to. So essentially, starting with Iagon, we would be a 1-to-1. And then as our treasury grows, we deploy the next partnership and contribute to the next network. Now we become a 1-to-2, where there's two sources of return off of the same initial investment that someone would have contributed to holding NVL. So while your NVL holding might not grow in size, the reward return ratio would increase as Nuvola essentially expands its network effect.
Gotcha. Okay, that sounds really cool too. So Novula, I could see this going cross-chain to
Yeah.
different decentralized storages to on all these other chains, but then also cross tech platform. So
Yeah.
would you be considering setting up like world mobile nodes and air nodes, for example?
Yeah. So some contact has been made. We're trying to establish parameters and see profit margins. And, at the end of the day, we are a business and we have to make sure that we can sustain long term. We have a 5-year service agreement with Iagon, where we will be contributing a sizable amount of storage at a baseline, which will be released in better detail in the coming days. But such as World Mobile, there are many others out there. We could go, to many other industries that need this similar type of operation. So it makes us chain agnostic. It makes us industry agnostic, where we could essentially, if there's profitability and it has to do with the type of services that we can deliver, you better believe that Nuvola will definitely be getting their hands on it.
All right, great. That's really good to hear. With this revenue sharing, it sounds like a security. It's like, when you're promising rewards and profits from the platform, is that considered a security? Like, what's the legal implications around it?
So securities are pretty vague. Essentially, I think the staking reward or the staking mechanism starts to enter this more of a sidestep to a security thing where
Yeah, yeah,
we're essentially not guaranteeing anyone anything. We are running operations that in turn can have some kind of return, and people have to stake their token to claim whatever it might be. We're not
gotcha.
dotting I's, crossing T's on any set amount for anyone. And the only people who will be getting a reward allocation are the active stakers. Um, so while we are all treading the securities conversation, and I think on one day I hear all of securities are crypto's a security,
Hmm.
and another day it's kind of the conversation just disappears into thin air. Um, I think we're copying models, or we're replicating the Cardano model, which is a staking. Same with Iagon with their exact stake revenue model, right? We are a service provider that will generate income. What we do with that income essentially is for us to decide. But I think the staking is where essentially we start to be able to maneuver the conversation a lot better, because
Yeah,
we're not
yeah.
directly paying out. People are claiming something. Again, I am not an attorney, so I
Hmm.
can't
Hmm.
fully answer the conversation. We will have attorneys on staff to help us maneuver a lot better. Um, but it's a conversation I think we're willing to take on full head when the time comes as well.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same mechanism other projects are using as well. From what I understand, it's like the Goofy Gophers team are using. You have to stake your Gophers,
Yes.
like actively stake it to claim that BTC mining rewards. So anytime
Correct.
you have to get the user to do something, then they're actively working in the ecosystem to claim those rewards. So
Yep.
it's not like the revenue is airdropped to all holders, which would be similar to how shares work. So all the shareholders of a company would earn the profits, whereas this, you
Correct.
still have to do
Well,
something to claim those rewards.
yep. Also for the stakers earn the rewards. So you stake your NVL, and then in proportion to your NVL holding, there's a reward that could be available for you. If an NVL holder is not staking their allocation, whatever their reward allocation is in proportion to their holding gets redistributed 50% to the stakeholders and 50% to the treasury. So there's no misuse of funds anywhere. It
Yep,
always is flowing to the community or into our treasury and being
gotcha.
redeployed to essentially repeat the model and create that compounding effect. So we've really enforced with our model staking, long-term holding in order to really reap the benefits of what we have to offer.
Now, how can users get their hands on the NVL token at the moment?
So we have our coming sale on April 18th. We are launching through a launchpad called Coinecta on Cardano. They're an incredible corporation. The guys, Marty and Theta, have been a massive help to us with helping us with advertising, but more so with the token minting and the distribution and the sale. It's going to be pro rata style with a flowing price where essentially we have a set raise amount at a set price. If it's oversubscribed, the price will essentially be at the max. If it's undersubscribed, the price will decrease and more tokens will be distributed back to to the buyers in proportion to their original purchase.
All right, very cool indeed. That's good to hear. I'll make sure I put all the links and references in the show notes so that users can look more deeply into that. I'm assuming I can grab the white paper from your website as well and get more technical details. Yep, great, cool. I'll make sure that's all there too. And congrats on this partnership with Iagon. Like, that's when I first heard of you guys. It's like, where did this come from? So, having that partnership there and really cements your position in the ecosystem there to provide all that extra infrastructure for the team. So that's absolutely fantastic to hear.
Thank you.
Have you thought about doing anything like ISPOs or a fair ISPO where you delegate to community stake pools just to get tokens out there, or is it purely you need the raised for the capital and the hardware?
No, so we have, I can't remember the exact amount. I think it's 3% going to airdrops and 2% going into Iagon's pools, where if you delegate to them, they will receive NVL tokens.
Gotcha.
We have
Okay.
an airdrop going on with Dex Hunter and Vesper Wallet, where if you use Vesper, there's a boosted airdrop to you, but also just utilizing Dex Hunter platform, you're going to get the airdrop as well. We're doing community giveaways right now with a lot of the engagement just to get our name out there further. We're giving whitelist spots out. We're doing token airdrop spots. So there's a lot that we're giving just to essentially get our name out there properly. But also, I was always a firm believer, like you give, you receive. That's why essentially we even brought up the 400 terabytes online early. If you do the math on that, I think it's close to 200,000 USD, probably a little bit more. We've contributed out of pocket already between myself, my co-founder CTO, and two others that I'm very close with in real life that loved the Nuvola model, and they said, "Hey, let's just do an OTC 1-for-1 swap, just to help this thing get started early, right?" And we're already earning rewards on those nodes, which will be retroactive to the community. So they're earning without even realizing that they're earning already, right? So there's a lot that we plan to do to maximize the value of NVL. And the best part of it all is that we're contributing to other networks and helping them flourish and grow. So it's a very self-sustaining mechanism that we're providing, and it can flourish very rapidly, as it already has started to. I can't believe it's been last Tuesday was when we announced publicly with Iagon, and I feel like I blinked. And our Twitter accounts are growing, our socials are growing. The embrace has been astronomical, but it's the right idea, and it's for the people. Our slogan is we are the gateway to a rewards-based economy, and essentially, when you look at us, our entire model is one huge revenue share model. So we take revenue share from someone and we revenue share it to people who would have no access to it, right? So I was one of those people. That's why I created this idea. And my co-founder was running nodes on his own, so he already knew the infrastructure and he had the experience. So it was the perfect synergy of us to come together on that aspect.
Brilliant. Super excited that you guys are here to deliver a much needed boost to the ecosystem. So I'm looking forward to this extra 400 terabytes of data and space available for the Iagon team and the ecosystem there. But Raul, thank you so much for joining me on this episode. Good luck with that token sale on Coinecta. You're definitely in good hands there. And we'll speak again soon once this all gets up and running and we can start playing around with your platform too.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate you having me.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast. Gotta get it hype. Crypto is what we like, but this is not investment or financial advice. Gotta do your research, cause it's risky. We know it is. This show is educational and it's informative. Crypto's the future, really, it ain't no debate.